So first of all, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to introduce open access development from different regions. And I understand from my colleagues at Springer Nature that it will be interesting for us to show you the picture we have been seeing through the years. So my name is Joyce Lee, and I work at Springer Nature as the publishing director for the Greater China region. And I'm running a portfolio of about 200 journals with a local team based in China. Mainly working with the universities and research institutes in China to develop its own journal programs across all the disciplines, from science, technology to medical titles and to humanities and social sciences. So without further ado, today, I'm just going to give you a very, very basic picture about what we have been seeing in China in the open access, because we have a very broad audience, as I understand. So maybe some of the information is already known to you and it's very basic, but I'm giving you my contact information. You can always get in touch with us in case you are interested in some parts of the development from China. Oh, sorry, I think I'm sharing the wrong slides, perhaps, sorry. So how can I stop it? So sorry for the interruption. I'm just trying to find my slides I am supposed to share today.
Maybe I do a small in-between while Joyce does that, because I was just looking. Oh, now it goes. Are you ready? Okay, now I shut up.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks, Aaron.
I was just trying to do. I was trying to do an intermission.
Yeah. I know. Sorry, I think I have some problem with my slide, but I am going to share with you this PDF version, like, but it's all the same. I think I'm just going to talk it through, and it's not very complicated. So I'm going to talk about the open access development from the very basic aspects in terms of OA output. Sorry? Yeah, so can you see the screen clearly? Or I know maybe it's too small. So, but I can share with you the PDF, the slides, the content afterwards. I'm sorry for the interruption because my PowerPoint is not working properly. But in terms of the open access growth, on the right-hand side with the graph, you can see a very significant growth in the previous 10 years. And that's also the time I started working on open access from China. So I started in 2011 with Biomass Central at that time. And so I basically witnessed the whole development of fully open access from China. And if you are interested in the discipline that's on the right-hand side, not surprisingly, you will see a very like a large share from the medicine life science part, which is the origin of where we see open access first started. But at the same time, with the recent years, we also have been seeing growth in open access from engineering, but also from some of the applied science side, some of the more like applied material science, for example, and also in China specifically in recent year, especially from last 2 years, with the development of IEEE access, there was a lot of output in the computer science or double E area from China in fully open access. So that's a very basic picture, as you can see, and that's in line with the trend we have been seeing with the Springer Nature portfolio as well. So the next part, I just want to talk a little bit about OA funding, because that's also, if you are more familiar with the funding scheme in Europe or in the US, but that's also quite unique and different in China. So here I'm just trying to use a slide which give you an overall picture, but I'm just going to talk about China. So in China, there's no national funding in terms of supporting a fully open access publication, but like the arrangement is more with the research grants. So in every research grants, a certain share of the money will be allocated to the publishing fee. So whether researchers can use it to support their fully open access publishing, like in hybrid OA or fully OA, or they can decide maybe in some of the journals from China, they also have page charges. So researchers are free to use that part to support their publishing activities without like much barrier, especially in the well-funded areas, like in medicine life science or some of the technology part. So that's actually quite different if you look at UK or some other European countries. So that's quite I would say like unique in China. But I will go back to that point when I talk about the kind of thinking toward away from China. And open access journals. So I have been working with this community very closely until today. I just want to show you like some data, like in China, like there's some requirement for registration with authority when one organization is trying to publish a journal in English. So officially, I think there are some journals, they just work directly with international publishers without, like domestic registration. But here we're talking about titles categorized under China in JCR. So you can see from the light blue bar is the total number of English titles in JCR from China. And the dark blue bar shows the growth of open access titles. And as per my experience working at Springer Nature, so we have been sorry, there's some noise. We have been seeing a huge growth in the interest in launching open access titles across all the disciplines in recent years. And a good number of those journals are very, very successful. So I can share with you, for example, Springer Nature published a good number of open access journals, which is already leading in their JCR ranking globally. And they are publishing like sizable content. But that trend is going to be rated, as I can see, because the Chinese government launched a journal excellence program back in 2019, and they allocated a lot of funding to support the growth of this international impact of STM journals. The program includes 180 journals published in English, but at the same time, there are also 100 journals published in Chinese language. So among all the English titles, Springer Nature published about half of the titles covered by the program. So like it's pretty strong in terms of the discipline development and as well as the quality development, as we can see. So that's the kind of picture with the journal publishing from China. But like probably people will think, like quite often when I talk about these things with people outside of China, like people will say like, oh, open access is quite established in China as a way. But does this mean like OA is well developed in China? So I will say no, or it's more like a very complicated mixed picture, because there are like different answers. So I put a question mark on a lot of important OA aspects in terms of, for example, open access journals. So I've showed you in the first graph, like the growth of open access publication with individual researchers, but do they really see open access journals as, you know, like kind of the official publication? So the answer is very different. I can see the change, for example, in the medicine and life science, more and more very high quality open access journals have already established the name. So like the misception in those fields are less thing compared with the newly developed disciplines such as applied science. Still, although like a lot of people are publishing in open access, but they don't necessarily understand what it means, or with the disruption of those predatory journals. So that also put a question mark on the credibility of the open access topic. So related to that, there is a perception of open access related to pay to publish. So that's quite, you know, like very classic thinking when people think about open access initially. And also like there's thinking about open access means very fast publication. I think we have seen a lot of publishers are able to improve the turnaround times, the publication speed, but like that's also a perception in terms of what we can offer with open access journals. And in China, people don't have very high awareness in terms of the license. So for example, authors who publish with open access journals, they care more about which journals they publish in rather than business model, because there's no push from the national funders or their research institutes in terms of they have to publish in open access journals. So they don't, like, the awareness of open access benefits is, like, in general, it's very low, I would say, especially in terms of the rights and license. And also there's because payment is inevitable. So a lot of people don't understand what article processing charge means or what it covers. So people still think, oh, like they are willing to pay a higher APC to a journal with a higher impact factor. So like they naturally link APC to impact factor, which is not necessarily true. At the same time, there's also like kind of confusion around what APC means. So as I mentioned, in China, traditionally, some of the titles published in Chinese language or a very small part of the English journals have page charges, but at the same time, they also sell their subscription rights. So there's a confusion around APC. So when people talk about like open access payment, a lot of people still talk about, you know, like page charges as that. So for us, for Springer Nature, we, as a leader in open access, we have been doing a lot of education work in the community to bring the kind of right knowledge or the kind of benefits, awareness of benefits to our communities in China. So that's, we believe that's very important to advance the development of open access, which is what we truly believe in. This does not cover like all the kind of picture of open access, but I just want to give you a like, you know, light flavor of what's happening from here. And I'm not sure if we have time for question, but if not, this is my email address, so you can always reach out to me if you have any publishing related questions for China. Okay, that's what I'm going to talk about today. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Joyce, and great to hear you. Just one thing I wanted to do very quickly, because we had it in the previous presentation as well. I'm going to put a link into the chat now. There's a page on the Scholarly Kitchen on the 102 things journal publishers do. And when we talk about diamond or gold journals, the problem is that you can launch a journal, but it takes years to really have a journal flying. And as you are in flight, you've got to keep it aerodynamic. And I think being aware of what publishers do does really help. So there's a link now in the blog to this very useful article from 2018. Incidentally, the bit I presented earlier on, where I was talking about the misconception on OA, is a series of slides I built 2019 in China. So it's been adapting. The world is not like the Western world or the US or the European want it to be. The world outside is very different. And that's why I'm really excited now to pass over to Shalima from Jordan to talk about her experience.